Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vanessa and you are watching the Exploring Oracle, or the Exploracle for short. So if you're new here to this channel, what I usually do is I just show you decks from my personal collection and I talk about it. I do have timestamps down below to each part of this video if you just want to skip to a certain part, but I would love if you would stay and listen to the entire thing. Alright, so today I'll be taking a look at this deck, or these decks. It is from a Kickstarter campaign that I backed in 2022, which is the I'm Here Oracle deck, which is a 50-card deck and guidebook by Murphy Pines. So in the Kickstarter page, let me just show you. I was so I wanted to get it because it says it's the I'm Here, the emotional care deck that feels like a hug. It was also a deck that I saw on Lisa Papez's channel, and she was so excited about talking about the prototype deck for this. So it was really a no-brainer for me because I was just so drawn to the imagery, and I really wanted to have this type of deck in my collection. At the time, I had just started doing tarot. I was a few months into tarot and I was just building up my collection, which has significantly grown by then. But this was definitely one of the first few decks that I wanted to include in my collection. If you notice that in the title, I did say that it's finally here. The reason for that is this deck has been delayed, and the creator did have some issues, some problems with putting this deck out. And it came to a point that he really had to request for additional donations from the backers if to help him with being able to ship out the decks. And this is definitely a voluntary thing. And I'm also very thankful that there were some backers who really did help with this goal. At the time, I wasn't able to contribute, and to be quite frank, at the time, I was already feeling, you know, the feeling where you just want to cut your losses. To be perfectly frank, I wasn't really sure whether this deck would be getting to me, but I was already resigned to the fact that I may not get it. So at the time that Murphy was asking for it, I didn't really have extra funds, but even if I did, I'm not really sure if I would have pitched in. And I don't know if that makes me and I don't know if that puts me in a bit of a negative light for not wanting to help, but I guess I was just overall feeling neutral about this campaign because of what happened. I think some of the problems were also, aside from the fact that Murphy did, this is his first campaign. He really did run into a lot of issues that he hadn't factored in. He also had some personal issues that he was very transparent about and was sharing as an update. I think for me personally, the reason why I was feeling a little bit neutral about it is because whenever he would post an update, after that update, it would take a really long time before he posted his next update, and it wasn't necessarily a positive one. So I think that's where some of the negative, I guess, emotions for regarding this deck are coming in, and I'm only speaking about my own personal feelings and thoughts about this deck. But I know that there are some others who want nothing more to do with this project, and I don't know if that'll change once they do receive their decks, because it is starting to get delivered to the backers. I think I was one of the first few ones who received it because I live close to the distribution center, shipping center, because I'm from the Philippines and I believe the center is in Hong Kong. So my deck arrived the day after Christmas, and I've been using it for the past, I think, 2 weeks, and I have been loving it. But anyway, that has been a long intro. Let's talk about the decks. So first off, the Kickstarter campaign was really for this deck, the I'm Here deck, which is a 50-card deck and guidebook. But Murphy also listed several stretch goals, which were all met during the campaign period. So this resulted in having to create, or in this additional deck, which he called the This Is Me deck. So in This Is Me, it is an oracle deck that includes 5 sets of archetypes and symbols that are rich in meaning that you can use to connect yourself to yourself, I suppose. So there are 5 sets. So you have the astrological signs, the elemental signs, celestial, plants and flowers, and enneagrams. So this is what the box looks like. The campaign also featured a pin, an enamel pin. So this is what it looks like. Let me bring it out for you. It says, "My heart is my home," and it's a very comforting message. And the imagery as well is very comforting when you look at it. This is the deck. These are the backs. They are reversible, and it's actually the same backs as the main deck. It is also gilded in this really beautiful holographic gilding, which feels quite smooth to the touch, so it doesn't feel sharp. I'm not always a fan of gilding, but this one is quite good. Cardstock is a little bit satin finish, and more on the thinner side for an indie deck, but it's I don't mind it because I can shuffle this deck really well. So let's move the main deck to the side first, and then let's zoom in and take a look at the cards for the This Is Me deck. Okay, so I just arranged this by category, but it's not really following the actual zodiac order. So this is Aquarius. So it's a borderless deck, and you have the glyph, the astrological glyph at the bottom of the deck. Virgo. And really, it's the art style that gets to me, you know. It's such a gentle looking, cute, comforting type of art. It feels like it can connect with inner child. I don't really do a lot of inner child work for myself, but it is something that I feel would work really well for that. And the colors are just, there's a lot of pastel colors, but there's also some bright and vibrant colors. It also for me feels like the type of energy that this particular image wants to denote, and I'll show you that in the main deck because I think it's more visible there. So here's Libra. This is me. Of course, I love this card. Pisces. And I think Murphy's campaign is really he might have overpromised, but I don't think he necessarily underdelivered. All right, so this is my own personal opinion. I think he encountered a lot of delays, but he pulled through. You know, he delivered these decks. He didn't compromise to this vision, and it's here. Okay, so we're done with the astrological signs, and then we go into the elements. So you have here air, earth. I like that he looks really safe in the earth. It's the elemental suit. I also love this fire card. He's like really enjoying himself in the fire, in the flames, with the spark. I really like that depiction. And of course, water. That's the 4 elements. And then we go into the celestial bodies. Sorry, I adjusted my light to remove some of the glare. But for all of the celestial bodies, it has a darker background, so all black backgrounds. So you have here the sun, the moon, and then you go to the planets: Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Neptune, Earth, Venus, Uranus, Saturn, and Pluto. And then he also has a section for flowers, plants and flowers. So you have here daffodil. So there aren't any keywords in the deck, and there isn't a guidebook for this extra deck that was unlocked via stretch goals. So you really have to know, or you have to look up by yourself what would be the message of these particular cards. Lavender. Love this lotus card. Mugwort. Black orchid. Pine. Sunflower. And coconut. Then you have rose. And then you also have the 9 Enneagrams. So I'm not too familiar with Enneagrams. I just know that they are personality types. But you have here the Reformer, the Helper, the Achiever, the Individualist, the Investigator, the Loyalist, the Enthusiast, the Challenger, and the Peacemaker. So I won't shuffle this deck because actually I'm not really sure if you should shuffle them together, but of course it would really depend on how you want to read this. But I will show you the sample shuffle when we get into this main deck. But that is the stretch goal. So it's essentially an entirely new deck, apart from the main deck that that the Kickstarter was for. So, kudos to Murphy for really wanting to make the most, or to give the most. What's the right term? To try and give a lot to the backers. I think really his intentions for the Kickstarter was very much centered on wanting to give and give to the backers, and I do feel that sincerity when he posts. I do feel the energy coming off from the decks, that it came from a place that was really aimed to give or to share this deck to those who wanted to support it. And I say that, and I think it's because I know that there's a lot of people who think negatively about this campaign and about Murphy, and I don't want to invalidate their emotions and their feelings about this project, because they do have a right to feel that way. But for me personally, I just, I was initially feeling neutral about the project, but as soon as I received it, it was just like it was like I felt almost guilty, and I don't know why I felt that way, but there was like some guilt that I was doubting the project, that I didn't help, or that I didn't want to, and I don't know. But when I got this deck, it really made me happy, and I'm just gonna stop talking because I don't know, because I'm not really because I feel like I have a lot to say, but I can't really express it as eloquently as I would like. I'm already wearing some blue crystals for communication. I also have this soda light point handy. It's supposed to help me communicate better, because I have a lot of thoughts about this project, about this deck, but since I can't communicate it as well as I want, it just, I'm just gonna show you the cards, okay? Alright, so this is the main deck. This is the I'm Here deck. It's a 50 card deck and guidebook by Murphy Pines. So it's also in a 2-part box. And it says here, I'm here. And then the message, take some time to care for your inner child, hang out with your higher self, be present with the wonderful you. I'm Here is a deck of 50 cards that explore ideas for gentle ways to heal and connect with yourself. Each card has been digitally illustrated by artist Murphy Pines and accompanied with some writings that explore the ideas even further in the included booklet. So it also has here on the sides, how are you feeling? A heart, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, we'll move the box to the side. Let's start with the guidebook. So this is the guidebook. It has a foreword from Murphy. You have the table of contents, and then it tells you how to use the cards, and then directly into the card names and the meanings. It also has some journaling and action prompts that you can do. So there is quite a lot of information in each card and a lot to think about. And I like that about this. Now, I must say, there was a comment on the Kickstarter that there are some, I think, cards in the guidebook. It might be a misprint, or it wasn't updated, but there are 2 cards that are here but not in the guidebook, or vice versa. I'm sorry. I don't necessarily feel the need to work with the guidebook for this particular deck, or at how I use it at this time. But Murphy has already posted on the Kickstarter page that he would be posting online the missing pages, so that you can get the full, so that you can get the corrected version of this of the guidebook, or whatever misprint that was there. I'll also be linking the Kickstarter page down in the description box so that you can know more about the campaign. Okay, so the cards are the same as the other deck. The backs are reversible, gilded, really nice quality gilding, and a little thin, but not too thin, definitely not papery. It just feels good for riffle shuffling, but for those who prefer thicker cardstock, this might be something that you would not enjoy as much. And it also slides really well, so I think it also fans out really beautifully if you choose your cards that way. Alright, so we'll zoom in. Okay, so I think I'm already zoomed in, but I will zoom in a little bit more closely because I do want you to see these cards and the messages that are in them. So I adjusted the lighting. Hope this is better without shadows or reflection. But these are the cards. They are borderless. You have the keyword and additional message at the bottom. This is why I don't necessarily need to use the guidebook when I read with this deck, or when I use this deck. The colors are also different across each card, so there's not a specific color palette that's used. Like for focus, it's just a stark white and black on the card, so that you can really focus. And I think that conveys the intent and also adds to the keyword that's been chosen. So move the past. So even though the images are these shapes, creatures, they convey the emotion that they want to convey in the card. And I think that speaks a lot about the talent that Murphy has in creating this deck. And I'm actually really very grateful that he decided to, or that he launched that Kickstarter project so that I can have a copy of this deck. Reset. The keywords are really good. They are mostly positive. I wouldn't say that they're, I think the term was nice washing. So it's not overly light, but they are mostly positive, and they are very encouraging and supportive, which was the intent of the deck. So it's not something that you would pull up if you want, let's say, to work on your shadows, in the sense that you want to confront your negative emotions, but this is or traits or qualities, but it is more of a deck that you would use if you need this type of support, you need this emotional hug. And yeah, I think this is definitely a hug deck for me, and I think it was designed that way. Expand, give, sculpt. So I feel that this deck of cards are really special to Murphy, because you can really feel that intention when you look at the cards, when you read the messages. And I feel so much happiness and so much support, and I feel proud of him that he was able to get this out. I don't know, but yeah, I'm so happy that he did this. I'm so happy I have a copy. I feel like this would really be a good addition to my collection and my practice, and I'm thankful that, in spite of all of the challenges that he faced, he was able to deliver. And I know that I work as a project manager, and I know that it's difficult to convey or to share updates when they are negative. I know it is difficult to tell people, let's say when I'm talking to project sponsors, to ask for additional budgets. And I also know that you can't communicate in a way that would satisfy each and every one of your stakeholders, because there would be people who would love to know every single thing about it, but there would be some that would just want to hear limited updates, and they don't really want to know the details and just the high level information. So I understand the challenges that he faced, and yeah, I'm just glad he didn't give up. And I look at these cards. So again, I'm just talking about how I feel. These are my opinions. This is how I feel about the deck. And yeah, just to me, this is very special, and I really love having it in my collection. Now, I honestly don't know if he has a second, or if he has more copies apart from the ones that he printed for the Kickstarter. So I will be linking below his Instagram profile, so that in case you are interested in the deck, or you just want to ask if he is printing another batch, you can contact him directly. But yeah, and yeah, this deck, it really feels special. And I've said that several times already. It's just that I don't have any other words to describe it. See, this is a very colorful one. Venture, reach, breathe, ask, reframe, let go, express, cocoon, and zoom out. So this card, I pulled this on the 1st of January, and it actually ties into some of the other readings that I have for myself for the year, which is mostly focusing on perspective, awareness, so seeing the big picture. So yeah, this is my first card of the year, so so yeah, it's definitely a special one for 2024. Okay, so I zoomed out, and let's see how this shuffles. So again, for me, it riffle shuffles really well, but it riffle shuffles well if it's face up. So I think that's something about how the gilding is being applied, or the coating on the cards. I don't know, but you can see the difference. Again, I'll show you. If I shuffle it this way, even in the sound, it's different, and you can see that it kind of clumps. But if I shuffle it this way, it's a lot more smooth and has a better mix. And as you can see, since it's a little bit on the thinner side with the cardstock, it does form a little bow when you shuffle it, but when you bridge it, it just bounces back. So I don't see any problem with that. I feel like it will still hold up. And let's read for a question. So question, time to ask some questions. Why not? Let's complicate and expand. So let me just check, let me pull the guidebook and see what else it has to say. Okay, question. Questions lead to more questions. And as we follow the answers to those questions, we get closer to the truth. When we ask ourselves questions and answer them honestly, it can reveal and clarify so many things about who we are at our core. We can also question the way the world is built around us, asking why, with a sense of curiosity, can illuminate the areas and ways in which the way things are can be reimagined and changed for the better. Asking how. Not knowing or understanding something is not at all something to be ashamed of. It is impossible to know everything. The beauty of not knowing is that it is an opportunity to learn, and learning can be a huge source of growth, purpose, and meaning. And then you also have some journaling and action prompts. So, start a list of questions you'd like to answer to. You can add to that list. Ask some big why questions. Come up with some questions that you've been too shy or afraid to ask people, and take a situation in your life. Write a bunch of questions surrounding it, including who, what, when, where, why, and how. It might help shed some light on what you need to do. So that is how the guidebook reads. I want to read for another one. I think. I just think that we might need another message from the I'm Here deck. Okay, so let me just choose this one. Cocoon. It's okay to take the time you need to rest, heal, and feel safe enough to go out into the world. Alright. Then let's check Cocoon. Alright. When we are processing and healing, we often need time and space to withdraw and conserve our energy. It's okay to spend some time with yourself and to take a break. In a butterfly's life cycle, the caterpillar builds a chrysalis. During this stage, much of their body turns to a nutrient-rich goo in which the butterfly's body is formed. On the outside, it might look like nothing is happening. You've slowed down. Healing takes a lot of energy. It's important not to add shame and guilt to the process. In order to build yourself up, sometimes you go through a stage of formlessness where you might feel lost and directionless. This can be an incredibly exciting and liberating part of the journey. It is important to give yourself the space and freedom to create your own path and reimagine how you'd like to embody yourself and move through the world. And again, some journaling and action prompts. So what are some feelings that come up when you think of safety and comfort? What are some of the things that help you feel more safe and comfortable? And then it tells you to visualize a cozy place in your mind. What sounds can you hear in that visualization? And then imagine the moment you finally step out of your cocoon and spread your wings. What does it feel like? Is it exhilarating, liberating, energizing, maybe even a little scary? So, honestly, this deck, for me, it has a special place. You know, it's not something that I would draw from every day because I don't necessarily need this type of energy on a daily basis. But whenever I do need some kind of comfort or support, or I think when you're having a really bad day, or when you're just having some difficulty processing your emotions, and I think this deck can help you with that. I do really like the images. I love the colors. I appreciate all the effort that it took to make this deck happen. I'm thankful for Murphy. I'm thankful for those who added the additional financial aid that was asked during the course of the project to help with the to help get things moving for the deliveries. And I think that maybe the question would be is that you have in your mind, maybe not, but if you were to ask me if I would support another project by Murphy, I think the simple answer would be yes. Of course, the more nuanced answer is would I be drawn to the art? Would I be drawn to the project? Is it a project that I would want to support, etc., etc.? But let's say I already know about the possible delays that he would encounter with the I'm Here deck, and you ask me to back it. Would I back it? The answer is yes. I think this deck comes from the heart. I think there's a lot of sincerity that that was shown by Murphy during the course of the project. There's also a lot of character with the fact that he, in spite of all of the challenges that he encountered, he still pushed on. You know, it was delayed, yes. There were some missteps made, possibly, and could it have been communicated better? Definitely. But yeah, overall, in Kickstarter, you actually have like a smiley face on how you feel about the project. And I think midway through the project, at the start, it was a smiley face for me, but midway through, when we were not getting a lot of updates and then there were delays being encountered, I did change that to a sad face and then a neutral face. And then, but now I changed it again. When I got this deck, it made me happy. And I think that was, at least for me, that's what matters. So if you're watching this, I'm curious to know, is this the first time you've seen this deck? Is this something that you also backed? And I want to know your feelings and thoughts about it. Is it something you'd want to purchase? Again, I will be linking down Murphy's Instagram page because I'm not really sure how about the pre-order status of the deck. So yeah, just leave a comment. I'm interested to know your thoughts. If you have any questions, I do reply to the comments whenever I can. So that has been the flip through of the I'm Here Oracle deck, as well as the This Is Me deck, which is a stretch goals for this project. I hope you find this video helpful. Please don't forget to click on the like button and do consider subscribing to my channel. See you again next time. Bye!